Well, hi everyone, it's Bronnie here again for another day in Bronnie's world, and it's Super Saturday. And guess what? It's also Christmas. No, Christmas. It's also New Year's Eve. Wow. We'll go back a week. It's New Year's Eve. Bronnie, where have you used your head today? Another year is over and another about to begin. And what a great way to end the year than with a chat with my favorite doctor in the world, who is always willing to help anyone with any issues they have. And today we thought we would talk about new beginning, new life, and about those. This is a really tough subject for me because I've been in that situation myself, but it is a tough subject, and I've had way too many friends and friends of friends that I know who have struggled to fall pregnant or haven't been able to fall pregnant, who have lost babies, miscarried at all different stages, early stages and late stages of pregnancy, and people who have gone through the IVF program and still struggle. So I thought it would be great because the media put it out there many times how much Doc has got all these women pregnant. So they've twisted it a bit, but anyway, so I thought, you know what, let's ask the doc what he would suggest, things that you can do to help you with the beginning, and what you need to do long before you even think about getting pregnant to start new life. So a new year's coming up tomorrow, so why not start with new life? What a great way to start the year, or end the year, to start the year. So Doc, I'm going to hand it over to you now, and thank you so much again for coming back this week. I am absolutely enjoying our little time together every week. I look forward to it. I can never wait to go to
Thank you so much, Bonnie. You are the greatest. I appreciate you and all the good things you do. So we make a good team. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you have to appreciate that getting pregnant and developing a healthy baby requires a lot. Okay. And so this is why there's so many people that have difficulties, because it's not just an easy thing. Like baking a cake or something like that. It's a little more complicated. And so the first thing that people have to do is realize that, when they're a kid, they're eating badly, eating bad things, maybe drinking a bunch of alcohol and all this kind of stuff, and then they want to get pregnant. Well, that's a bad place to start. Okay, so what you want to do if you want to think about getting pregnant, even if you're a teenager and you want to think, I want to, by the time I'm 20-something years old, I want to already have a baby. Okay, well, if you're only 14, you better start thinking about what you're going to do now. Okay, get rid of all the bad foods. Get rid of all the bad foods so that everything will be healthy. No fried foods, no processed meats, no bacon, no ham, no bologna, salami, pastrami, pepperoni, jerky, corned beef, spam. All those meats with chemicals in them need to go away. And then you need to also stay away from gluten. No wheat, barley, rye, and oats. You want to stay away from buckwheat with the phagopyrines in them, which are worse than glutens, because they prevent efficient absorption of nutrients, okay, which is very important here. The embryo requires an enormous amount of nutrients. And so we need to clean all that up. And you want to make sure that you're eating properly, which includes, as an adult, you want to have 3 eggs twice a day with soft yolks. As a teenager, you want to have 2 eggs twice a day with soft yolk, soft boiled, soft poached, soft scrambled butter. Hard-boiled eggs won't count, and fried eggs cause big problems. No oils. That means no coconut oil, no cooking oils, no salad dressings. All that stuff's got to go away. They cause inflammatory damage to tissues. And then you want to be sure you're taking all 90 essential nutrients. Lay the framework, lay the nest, build the nest, if you will, to provide the nutrients for the embryo to be happy. The embryo requires 90 essential nutrients, okay, plus a couple of dozen foods, okay, on top of those 90 essential nutrients. And one of the foods that kids require, babies require to be born healthy and not go to sleep and die early in pregnancy is cholesterol. Cholesterol makes up 25% of the brain weight, 25% of the spinal cord weight. And also, there's a new, what should I say, there's a new study out, which we can talk about next week, which goes into gay and lesbian behavior. This was published in the, let's see here, the Stockholm Brain Institute's bulletin, and then they published it just recently in the United States in the National Academy of Sciences in the USA, in the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences in the USA. And so this is well documented, okay? And so, babies, they're born gay and so forth. So this is not a choice. This is a birth defect that occurs when the baby's an embryo, 4 weeks old, it starts. If they don't have certain nutrients, or they're eating badly to prevent absorption, or they're eating badly to not get those nutrients, and mama's not supplementing properly, every kind of bad thing you can imagine can happen. And of course, in many cases, the baby will just go to sleep and go away and be a miscarriage, which is a terrible thing for everybody, including the mom to be. It's a terrible thing for her and the father to be, and to lose the baby like that. Indeed. And so, but the resolution of these problems is not difficult. Now, the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, flour, and oats, no buckwheat, no, let's see here, absolutely no sugar, no carbonated drinks. It's all got to go. You look back, Bronnie, to, I don't know if you're old enough to remember a guy by the name of Bruce Lee.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, Bruce Lee, he was considered the fitness guru of the world. Every country in the world considered him the guru fitness guy. Okay.
Yeah.
And he died at 32 because he was eating gluten with breakfast and dinner and snacks. Gluten. The only mineral he supplemented with was magnesium. He was only 59 short. He died at 32. The fitness guru. Okay. So you have to appreciate how important these things are. So you get rid of all the bad stuff. And the mom and dad both need to have the 90 essential nutrients. And that's why we have the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. The Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. It's one Healthy Brain and Heart Pack per 100 pounds of body weight. So if they weigh 110, 120 pounds, they could probably get away with one Healthy Brain and Heart Pack per month. Half a dose of everything twice a day. It has 215 nutrients, including the 90, which is still the core, 16 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 minutes of 3 fatty acids. That way you're not going to have 1,000 bottles because you've got the set that has it all in it, right? Yeah. And so you want to kind of think in those terms. And then you have to be able to absorb everything. And that's why you need to stay away from gluten so you can absorb stuff, because gluten kills the villi in your intestines, and the villi increase the absorptive surface by a couple 100%. Yeah. Well, when you eat gluten and buckwheat with the phagopyrines, those villi go away, and instead of your intestines looking like a shag rug, they look like a plastic tube. You've lost 98% of the absorptive surface. So even if you're supplementing, it goes out the other end, and the embryo doesn't get the benefit.
Oh, well, that's a bit sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really bad. And so it's just as important to stay away from the bad stuff as it is to take the good stuff. You can't be eating all the bad stuff and take the good stuff and expect the good stuff to work. You got to stay away from all the bad stuff and cook properly and take all the good stuff. And then you're at a high probability, no guarantee, but a high probability you're going to have a good outcome. And so this is not difficult, but it does take conscious effort, choosing what you eat, choosing how you cook, choosing where you go to eat, and so forth. You have to watch it. You get cross-contamination. If other people in your family, for instance, are eating gluten and you're washing your clothes in the same washer and dryer as them, you're getting cross-contaminated. You're sleeping with somebody who's eating gluten, you're getting gluten. You're, let's see here, you're sitting on the couch in a household, or you're working someplace and everybody there is eating gluten, you're not. Guess what? You're getting gluten just from the air and the rugs and the desk, and when they hand you papers, they just ate a hamburger with their hands on the hamburger button, and so they put the gluten, on the paper, and so it's easy to get cross-contaminated. So this is, you got to be really, really very, very proactive and staying away from the bad stuff, and then you got to take all these 90 essential nutrients. And it doesn't hurt if the woman's having an irregular cycle, that sort of thing. We do have what we call Xerafem, Xera-Fem. Okay, it tells your cells in your ovaries how to make estrogen and progesterone, and so things can work properly and get pregnant properly, because you need those hormones to maintain the pregnancy. And again, these are things you have to consciously do every day. It's not something, oh gosh, I forgot today. No, you're gonna be, it's kind of like, can you forget to use oxygen for a day? No, you'll be dead in 4 minutes.
You forget to breathe.
Okay, so just think of that baby is depending on you for all the good stuff and depending on you to protect it from all the bad stuff. So the family needs to sit down and say, okay, look, we're want to start a family. We want to start working on having a baby, but we want to clear up everything in the household. We want to do everything right. We want to make sure everything's good before we start working on having a baby, because we don't want to have a baby and then have a miscarriage because somebody was fudging, and eating and cooking fried potatoes in the house and fried chicken in the house and fried fish in the house, and eating bread and spaghetti with every meal. And well, Italians do it. No, they don't. No, they don't. And so it's one of those things where you have to prepare the field before you plant the seeds. Is how you have to look at this, right?
Yes.
And so you need to start your kids from the moment they're born to know that you have to eat right, cook right, supplement correctly, and be selective on, you can't wash your clothes in a public washer and dryer because you're going to get cross-contaminated.
Exactly. Yeah, you will.
And so it's one of those things where if you do everything correctly, you'll have a good outcome. You'll have healthy babies. You'll live 25, 50 years longer. Everybody's going to be happy. But if you don't pay attention to those details, it's going to be a mess. It will be an absolute mess. And everybody will be on, oh, you got bad genes. Everything bad's happening because you have bad genes. No, it doesn't matter. Okay, what brand of jeans you wear. What matters is what you're eating and not eating. And so you're protecting yourself and your cycles and all this kind of stuff, and ovulation and so forth. And then things will turn out right. I mean, it's magic when you think about it.
Well, that's why I call the miracle of birth, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a miracle. When you think about reproduction, you think about the same process that's happening with elephants and rhinoceros and whales and porpoises and fish and cows and pigs and dogs and cats and giraffe and all this stuff. But there's 450 species of animals that have been documented as having gay behavior. 450 species of animals.
Wow.
Because they're living in a place where they're not getting everything right. And so they're having bad outcomes of the pregnancies. Okay.
I never knew
so it's
that.
not just humans. It's every species that has babies, okay, and they have a pregnancy sort of thing. Guess what? It's one of those miracles when everything turns out right, because there's so many probabilities of bad stuff. So to get everything perfect, to have a perfect birth, perfect babies every time, and perfect pregnancy, it's an amazing thing to me. It's just amazing. So it's doable, but you have to be proactive, and you have to be a proactive detective as well as a proactive chef. Okay.
Sounds like it. And now, so I have a lot of friends who are trying to get pregnant, who are also have other health issues like diabetes and, things like
Well,
that.
diabetes is not a genetic thing. Diabetes is a simple nutritional deficiency. So that's telling them, hey, the reason why you're having trouble with pregnancies, okay, whether you're having pregnancies and losing the pregnancy early in the pregnancy, or maybe not getting pregnant, is because of the same problem as you have diabetes. It's a nutritional deficiency. You get on the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack and take the sweeties and avoid all the bad stuff so you can absorb everything properly. And oh my gosh, I'm pregnant already. It's only been 6 weeks.
Yeah, so that would work. Would work the same with, I've come across a lot of people who actually develop diabetes when they're pregnant. I'm not, can't remember the terminology they
Yeah,
use.
well, see,
It'd be the
because
same issue, wouldn't it?
you'd be borderline, but now there's 2 people, you and the baby, needing those nutrients.
Yeah.
And so the baby can lose the baby, or the mother can get diabetes. The baby's born with diabetes. It's a type 1 or type 2. All this kind of stuff is going on. And the mother was getting signals if she was having diabetes before she got pregnant or sometime during the pregnancy. This is the time to jump on the sweeties. I mean, like ASAP. So you can save that pregnancy and get rid of the diabetes in yourself, because you can go blind when you have diabetes.
Yeah.
You get all kinds of heart attacks, you get liver cirrhosis, all kinds of stuff. Diabetes is not a simple disease. It's very complicated nutritional deficiency, but it is preventable. I don't care if everybody in your family's got it. It's not genetic. It's not autoimmune. It's a simple nutrition.
So would that be, because you've said type 1 diabetes is something you're born with. So would that be why people are born with type 1 diabetes? Because of the mother lacking stuff during the pregnancy?
Maybe he was born with type 1 diabetes because the mama was deficient in these nutrients early in the pregnancy, when the cells and the islets of Langerhans and the baby are being formed. Yeah. And so there's all kinds of misformation in there. And so the baby is formed, is not getting enough insulin. Okay. Because the mother was deficient in those nutrients. Type 1 diabetes is not genetic. It's not autoimmune. Very simple nutritional deficiency. But once the damage is done, then that baby will be on some sort of supplement to provide the insulin. Okay. And usually they go, with injectable insulin. If they put them on, they put them on Infamil, I think it is the oral thing for babies for type 1 diabetes, or no, type 2 diabetes, and they give it to them, and the baby doesn't respond to it. Okay, because the mother's having breast milk from the mother, or the baby's having breast milk from the mother, or the baby's already old enough to start having gluten in the diet and not absorbing the nutrients. And so all these complications. So you have to sit down and make a list of all the things that have to be dealt with day and night, school and home, grandma and grandpa coming over. And when the baby's over grandma and grandpa's house, they can't be sneaking them cupcakes and Twinkies and things like that, because it's going to, cause a bad thing. This is very, very, what should I say, serious stuff. It's easy to deal with once you know what you're doing and you're prepared to do everything. They can live long, normal lives. They can have normal babies if they have type 1 diabetes, because it's not genetic.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. And because, we have, there's so many different birth defects. I've had friends who have had babies born with really bad cleft palates, and I was born with bad eyesight.
It's all nutritional deficiencies during pregnancy. That has nothing to do with genetics. And of course, that was my first experience with that, was cystic fibrosis. I found cystic fibrosis in a monkey at the Yerkes Primate Center in Atlanta, Georgia, where I was working. And I found the first non-human case of cystic fibrosis. I didn't tell, but I knew they were going to argue with me. So I sent the slides of this monkey, but I didn't tell it's from a monkey. I just sent them a slide, this microscopic slide. I said, I think this is cystic fibrosis. What do you think? The birth defect. And 5 medical schools wrote back on their letterhead, oh yeah, these are classic examples of cystic fibrosis. I said, well, that's good because I found the first non-human case in a monkey. We can use these monkeys as a laboratory animal and see what we can do to solve the type 1 diabetes problem. Oh, they were so excited. Okay. And then when I told them it was not a genetic disease, it was a simple nutritional deficiency, they fired me. They didn't like that part. So that was my first experience with the doctor's reactions to telling them that their belief in the genetic system was not correct.
Yeah. I mean, so, because like this, you know, oh, so many, like, again, so many birth defects, and Down syndrome as well. And people put that down to, oh, well,
Nutritional
it's the
deficiency.
age of the mother. And
No,
I don't believe it is.
nutritional deficiency.
So all these things, guys, can help you have a strong, healthy baby and not have
That's
all
correct.
these birth defects. And it's sad. It saddens me when I see babies born with a birth defect and think that could have been avoided. And a lot of them, I guess, can't. I don't know. Can any of them possibly be reversed after birth? I mean,
Well, you know, many of them are surgical cases, like cleft palate. Yeah, that's a surgical case. Spina bifida, that's a surgical case.
yeah.
Okay, because the formation time was when the kid was an embryo. And so this is why I came up with this book.
Yep. Dead doctors
Only
don't
dead
lie.
doctors don't lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only dead doctors don't lie. They made me take the only part off. Okay, this is in 9 languages. The CDs are in 9 languages. Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where it's like crazy. And then another book that goes into this, Brownie, is this one, Hell's Kitchen, named after that district in New York that has every bad thing in the world happen in that district in New York City. So they call it Hell's Kitchen. So the book is Hell's Kitchen. It was written after an event that took place at 3:00 in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, on Pearl Street in New York City, in the bluff overlooking the construction of the Brooklyn Bridge, when Thomas Edison pulled the switch and we started moving towards electricity. So by the new year, okay, the beginning of 1900, right? 1900, after 18, this came out, and we went to electricity in 1882. So 18 years later, in 1900, we had all these 40, 50 different diseases nobody had ever seen before. Okay, they're all caused by nutritional deficiencies, okay, which we didn't have before, because we're getting our minerals from the wood ashes and the coal ashes we're using for fuel for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, putting them in the gardens, and the vegetables would suck them up. We'd eat those vegetables, or we would just put the wood ashes into our porridge and our soups and on our salads and things, and because there was a little bit of a seasoning, but we were getting the minerals that way.
Yeah.
Well, once we went to electricity, there was no more wood ashes, there was no more coal ashes. And so we begin to get all these problems, okay, all these birth defects and all these diseases nobody ever seen before. And they say, oh, these are genetic. No, they're just simple. This book tells the story of the transition from wood and coal to electricity and all the terrible things. Look at those pictures
Yeah.
of those kids.
It's crazy. I noticed kids seem to be extra tall these days than what they used to be as well. I don't know if that's
Well,
got anything
see,
to do.
that's a good thing. They're maximizing their height, okay, but they still have to have all the other nutrients because their bones require a lot of nutrition, their muscles require a lot of nutrition, their heart needs to be able to pump nutrition all over the body. And so back in the old days, you might only have 1 meal a day or 1 meal every 3 days or something like that. Well, now they're getting 5 meals a day. And so that's why they're so tall, because they're getting 5 meals a day instead of 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day. Okay, so they're getting more and more food during their growth period, and that's why.
Oh yeah, and yeah, because especially through the deep depression and things, getting a meal a day was a miracle in itself, wasn't it?
You were lucky,
I
yeah.
mean, I didn't live through that, but my parents did. So, and my mother in particular would tell the story. Actually, her mother would tell the story more than mum, at how she herself went without so that her children ate. And sadly, she did a little bit of that while she was pregnant with her third child. And he died quite young, actually.
Oh.
Well, he was in his 60s, but he just dropped dead in the street.
He
Massive
was 60?
heart attack. He was about 65, 66, something like
Yeah.
that.
Okay, well, you have to appreciate even billionaires, their average life expectancy in billionaires is 66. The average life expectancy in professional athletes is 57.
Yeah.
Okay. The record for longevity for humans was Jean Calment from France, and she lived to be 122 years and 164 days. 164 days in 1997. Okay, 122 years, 164 days. She died in 1997. And she's the longest lived person in the industrialized world.
Yeah.
Now, there's people who live longer. You take the Hunzas, who live in the Himalayan mountains, and the Hunzas, their life expectancy is 120. Is it a genetic thing? No, it's not a genetic thing. What it is they live in these little valleys, and they're surrounded by all these volcanoes in the Himalayan mountains. And day and night, they're spewing all this ash, which comes down into the lakes and the ponds and the rivers and their fields. And every morning they wake up and they plow all this ash into the fields. And so when the crops grow, the crops are bringing up all these minerals. So that's why when we started Youngevity, okay, our business, we didn't want to just grind up limestone and clay like everybody else was and put the same minerals in our food. We spent 6 months looking to find out where we were going to get our minerals from. And we found 4 major sources and 8, which I say, come see, come south sources of volcanic ash. And so that's because of the Hunzas living to be 120. That is their life expectancy. But many of them live to be 130, 140, 150, 160 because they're getting all these mineral nutrients. Now, our Rebound, our sports drink, has 100 nutrients in it. Now, remember, Red Bull, okay, the biggest selling energy drink, has 1 mineral in it, magnesium. Our sports drink, Rebound, has 75 minerals and 25 vitamins, mineral mass. We have 100 nutrients, and Red Bull only has 1, magnesium. Red Bull is primarily, let's see here, it's primarily sugar and caffeine. That's why athletes die so early. That's why athletes die so early, because they're being driven by all those bad things, caffeine and sugar, and they're exercising. When you exercise, you sweat. You're sweating. You're not just sweating out water. You're sweating out all these nutrients in your body. And if you're not replacing them with 100 nutrients,
or not getting them in the first place, you're doing yourself a lot of
there
damage.
you go. There you go. And so,
well, like, look, I would love to be able to rid the world of babies born with defects. That's very simple. Dream. That would be my dream.
We did it with animals because we were controlled. And what we did, we made little alfalfa pellets with vitamins and minerals in it. That's how I discovered this when I was 9. Why do we put all their vitamins and minerals in those alfalfa pellets? That's so they couldn't separate things out and just eat what they wanted. This, this wasn't something, if they had a mixture of corn and beans and hay and wheat and rice and all this kind of stuff, they would kind of go through it and just eat the pieces they wanted. So we put everything into alfalfa pellets and put all the vitamins and minerals in there, and they would just eat the alfalfa pellets with everything in it. And so we had a uniform result in pregnancies and normal births and normal babies and eliminated birth defects.
Well, being a dairy farmer's daughter, I understand that, because if there was an issue with the animals,
what would you do with the bull?
Find a way to correct that. So why don't we do that with the human babies?
Brownie, what would a farmer do with a bull calf who thought he was a girl?
Yeah, well,
you'd kill him.
Yeah,
he'd be T-bone steak.
Yeah,
because he couldn't do his job. He was there to make baby calves, but if he thought he was a girl,
he'd become beef meat.
he became beefsteak. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
So we learned, it didn't matter what family of animal, what family they came from. It didn't matter that they came from the genetic family of Angus cattle. Okay, the family win all the awards and all the shows and everything like that. If that mama cow didn't have all the nutrients when the baby was being farmed, okay, that baby was born gay. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we actually we had several prize winning cows at, you know, Sydney show, or all the shows, but Sydney obviously being the biggest in this country. And yeah, Dad was very meticulous on making sure they had everything they need. I mean, they can't win those prizes if they aren't looking their best and producing the best milk, because they were dairy cattle that he was showing. So they had to be able to do that as well. So
There you go.
you know, and that's what shocks me about how people take better care of their animals than they do themselves. Take better care of their cars than they do themselves, let me tell you.
Ronnie, doctors tell people just eat well, you get everything you need. Don't waste your money on taking vitamins and minerals.
Mm.
And it's just like we had a very famous boxer just a couple of days ago. This guy was a champion.
Yeah.
Okay, welterweight. I believe he was a welterweight champion, and he was, you know, he was just being held up as the boxer of the century. And he's, you know, walking to his car and he just drops dead at age 45.
Who was that?
I apologize, I don't remember his name. I can. Hey Siri, what's the name of the boxer that just died, who was 45 years old?
Okay, I found this on the web. What's the name of the boxer that just died who is 45 years old? Check it out.
Stephen Bonner. Hall of Fame boxer Stephen Bonner drops dead at 45. Hall of Famer.
45. He didn't even live half his life.
No, that's because the odds are he was eating spaghetti, gluten, right?
Yeah.
The odds are he was not taking vitamins and minerals. If he was eating spaghetti, he was eating buckwheat. And the odds are he was not taking all his nutrients, and he dropped dead because he thought that exercise was enough. Remember, when you're exercising, you're not just sweating out water, you're sweating out nutrients. If you're sweating, you're exercising 3, 4, 5 hours a day because you want to be champ. You're exercising and sweating and exercising and sweating. But I'm eating well. What do I need to supplement? My doctor says I can get everything I need just by eating well. And then they take Red Bull for an energy drink, which just has magnesium in it as the only mineral. They're missing 59 minerals. He drops dead.
I have people say to me, oh, but they've done all those years at university. And I think, yeah, but how much of that time have they spent on actually looking at nutrients and things like that? It's, you know, they don't do that, I believe.
No, well, they listen to the doctor, and the doctors get little or no training in nutrition, and doctors give out a lot of misinformation. And thus the title of this book here,
Dead doctors don't lie. Only dead doctors don't lie. Well,
dead doctors don't lie. We do have 9 CDs in 9 different languages. Okay, the same story has just been translated into 9 different languages. We've sold 600 million copies of those CDs.
Yeah.
And almost that many books.
Well, I can actually
I
give
got people
a link to that recording as well.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if it's quite as full as the CD itself, because I got the CD here, only I don't have the CD player's mucking up. And I used to have one on my laptop, but that was my old laptop, and the new laptop doesn't come with one.
We still have them. We'll have to send you some.
So, but you know, it just simple things, simple changes in your everyday life and eating, and can prevent so many of these diseases that don't need to be there at all. Sorry.
Well, they did have those diseases way back when. In the 1700s in the United States, our life expectancy in the United States in the 1700s was 37.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's 74. It was 77, but we've dropped. Now it's 74. I think it's 74.7 or something like that.
So back in the day when 37 was considered, a
Good.
long life, I'm guessing again it would be through lack of nutrition and
No, that was exactly right. Because remember, at that time they learned how to grow wheat.
the lack of understanding, and
They grew wheat, and so everybody, they were eating wheat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They're eating oats for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They're eating rye and barley for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And they're using clay as kind of a little bit of a spice or maybe some mineral supplement like they were using for their cattle. But the cows weren't eating spaghetti.
well, I mean, through the Depression, I guess during that time, bread became the stable food, didn't it? Because it was all people could afford, and even that, a lot of the convicts that came here to Australia were convicts because they were stealing a loaf of bread just to feed their families, and they got a lifetime sentence being sent to Australia away from their families, which was quite sad. I mean, he built Australia, but back when it was called something else, but yeah, so it's sort of kind of then I have people now go back to biblical times and they talk about the wheat and stuff there, but didn't they eat it back then? Isn't there a difference between what was grown then and what was grown now? Or
wheat is bad always because it has gluten in it. You're not looking for nutrients to be in wheat because wheat's bad. You cannot absorb the nutrients. You say, let's look at the Garden of Eden. Was there any wheat, barley, rye, oats grown in the Garden of Eden? No, it was all just herbs and fruit trees.
All the good things.
There was no wheat, barley, rye, or oats in there. The protein was from dairy cows and dairy goats.
Where did wheat come
Fish.
from? How did it start? How did it start from the Garden of Eden being such?
Okay, well, it started in Egypt is where wheat started.
We'll blame the Egyptians.
Yeah, blame the Egyptians. Okay. And, they started marketing it around the world, and people said, oh man, we can grow fields of this stuff. And then of course it was very, very bad. And a lot of the plagues and everything were the result of people's immune system being down because they couldn't absorb nutrition because they're eating wheat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And they thought they were doing good. We got breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We have wheat. Okay. But no, that was a very bad thing. And so we do have so many problems.
The Jewish people didn't eat it, did they?
Say again?
The Jewish people didn't eat it.
Oh, the Jewish people ate wheat. Not much. Not as much as the other people. Okay. But the ones who live the longest are the ones who are Asians who eat rice.
I love
the
rice.
Asians eat rice. Okay. And but no, the Jewish people do eat wheat, but they eat more of other stuff. Their matzahs are little bitty things as opposed to having a loaf of bread that you're eating, and so, but still, when you go back into the biblical days, people lived a long time. They lived to be 100 years old, 200, 300 years old. If you believe the Bible, you got to believe those ages. Okay. And of course, with the Hunzas living their life expectancy is 120. And so that's why we have our sports drink Rebound with 100 nutrients in it. Red Bull only has 1, magnesium. So that's why we have, I'm going to put something up here for you to see. You see that?
Yes, I can.
Okay, that's our new CD sets. It got 3 CDs in it. Okay. And let's see here. Dead athletes don't lie. Exercise without temptation of suicide. What kills billionaires. The 3 CDs is in this set, and it's called There's a New Bull in Town, because we are going against Red Bull which
Yeah.
is a sports drink, right?
Yes.
It only has 1 mineral and 4 vitamins. We
Oh.
have 75 minerals and 20, excuse me, I think it's 13 or 14 vitamins, something like that. Okay. And so it's a big difference. And so that's why our rebound is so important. And we want everybody to drink that as a energy drink and a hydration drink. Because when you're exercising, you're sweating, you're not just sweating out water, you're sweating out minerals. And if you're sweating out minerals and sweating out minerals and sweating out minerals, and you're not replacing them,
Yeah.
or you can't replace them because you're eating wheat, butter, and oats, or you're drinking beer made from wheat, or you're drinking oatmeal for breakfast, or you're eating buckwheat with phagopyrines in it, which is worse than gluten. Okay, and all this stuff is going on. This
Yeah.
is why we have so many health problems. And Ken, I've got some exciting news, but we're going to talk about this next week. So don't come up with another program, because I want to talk about. We'll tell you
Okay.
after we're off the air. I don't want to give away
Okay.
the story too early, but this is very exciting. There's an issue. It's a big issue in the world right now. And
You're gonna put your camera back on so I can see your beautiful face.
oh, I'm sorry.
I think everyone's had plenty of time to write all that down now.
Okay.
I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to getting that set.
Yeah, I'm sure our team is going to send, a couple of cases of the sets to Australia, New Zealand, and so forth. So you'll be having them soon, because
that'll
the
be
labels, we'll have the labels today. The labels are supposed to be in today. You saw the
awesome.
label there. That's going to be
Great way to finish the year, right?
Yeah, and you're going to see, that's the way to finish the year. You're going to see it's a travel box for those 3 CDs, and that label you saw, okay, was the cover on that travel box. And each CD is wrapped separately so they don't rub against each other and everything. And it's going to be wonderful. Okay.
Oh wow. That's going to be really exciting. Gosh, do you realize we're almost at the top of the hour? And we've talked about the greatest thing in the world, and that's new life, new birth. And I think that's a great way to end the new year, the old year.
Ending of the old year and beginning of the new year.
Beginning of the new year. So
we're going to make healthy babies.
We're going to exactly healthy, strong babies that will.
Well, thank you, Bronnie, for doing a great job. Thank you for making all this happen. We're very, very proud of you.
Oh,
and we look forward to another great year coming up. We have so many things to do to help so many people. And you're a general in the Army. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Well, on that note, let's wrap it up for today here in Bronnie's World, as I ask you all really nicely to stay safe, stay informed, guys, and be empowered. And when you are giving your body what it needs, even before you're even thinking of getting pregnant, if you at any stage in your life, male or female, want to be a mother or father, because the dads is just as important for you, as Doc pointed out, to make sure you're getting what your body needs so you can grow strong, healthy babies. And let's make our next generation the best, healthiest generation that we can. And with that, you will be powerful, beautiful, brilliant, and most definitely very, very brave. And so will your loved ones. God bless you all. And thank you again, Doc, for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you,
again.
Bronnie.
And happy New Year.
Happy
God
New
bless
Year.
you. And I look forward to seeing you in the new year.
Bye-bye.
Just next week. Bye now.